Hello, I'm Mary, and thank you so much for coming. I pray that as you listen to this video today, your life will not remain the same again.
It won't manipulate anyone around you. In the precious name of Jesus, so shall it be. Be seated briefly. And the Lord put this in my spirit to share because nobody here will be a victim in life anymore. Nobody will be a victim. You will not bury your children. You will not know the grave of your children. Second Kings chapter 8, verse 1 to 6. I'll read verse 1, you read verse 2, I'll read verse 3. We'll do like that until we get to verse 6. We can read it together. Then spake Elisha unto the woman whose son he had restored to life, saying, Arise, go thou and thy household, and sojourn wheresoever thou canst sojourn. For the Lord hath called for a famine, and so it shall also come upon the land 7 years. Verse 2. And it came to pass at the 7 years' end that the woman returned out of the land of the Philistine and went for to cry unto the king for her house and for her land. And it came to pass as he was telling the king, how he had restored the dead body, that behold, the woman whose son he had restored to life cried to the king for her house and for her land. And Gehazi said, My lord, O king, this is the woman, this is her son, whom Elisha restored to life. Verse 6 and the final verse. So, and when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed unto her a certain, saying, Restore all that thou hast, and all the fruits of the field, since the day. Somebody, I want you to shout, Restore all. One more time, restore all. I want to make declarations and I want to prophesy that even areas of your life where you were not expecting restoration comes speedily. Departments of your life you were not expecting the dynamics of restoration to take place. When I was praying, the Lord said to me that in the lives of my servants, in the life of my messengers, my ministers, I will restore all. The woman asked for restoration for her land, restoration for her house. But the king said, no, it's not just your house, it's not just your land. Some of you are believing God for attendance. God said, no, it's beyond attendance. I am giving you a church structure of your own. Some of you are believing God for church structure. God said, no, you need a befitting car to go with it. Some of you are believing God for a befitting car. God said, no, you need helpers that can hold your hands. I prophesy upon your life as you hear every word from my mouth is going to God's ears. All restored. All restored. All restored. In the name of Jesus. Take your seat. Restore all. Restore all. Restore all. Restore all. You know, when the Lord gives you an assignment, I found out something over the years. Why God must elevate a servant of God. And I told you a servant of God is not just restricted or confined to a pulpit. That man, an entrepreneur who wants to take the entrepreneurial world by storm, is a servant of God. That man in the academia who wants to stand out in the academic world and stand strong and stand different, he has a mandate in the academic world. That man in the medical world, the same thing. The same thing in the political world. God wants to lift you up and set a standard with you. So that servant of God, you must understand something. Why God must lift you. It is very good for you to be proud of your ministry. But it is better for your ministry to be proud of you. It is good to say, oh, I have this. Look at what God has done. Look at that building. Look at what God has given to us. But it is better for your ministry, those who are under, to look at you by the liftings of God, by the blessings of God on your life. And they say, no, this one, if God could do it for him, let God do it for me. People say amen faster and louder to your prayer when you are reproducing what you are telling God to do for them. People say amen louder and faster to your prayers when you are replicating. They are seeing in your life the same thing you are saying, Lord, do it for them. They are seeing it in your life. The same thing you are saying, Lord, answer them. They are seeing it in your life. The same thing you are saying, God, visit them with this definite intentional miracle. And they are seeing that miracle in your life is glaring. They say amen from a depth of conviction because you are a progenitor of the very expectations that they have. There are some of you, by reason of certain restrictions, there are prayer you are ashamed to pray. There are certain prayers, even if you pray it in a low tone, in hushed tones, because it's like a mockery. Not anymore. Not anymore. A visitation that will give you honor will happen to you. Say, in the name of Jesus, Lord, restore my honor. Lord, restore my honor. Lord, restore my honor. Lord, restore my dignity. Lord, restore my dignity. Hallelujah. Jesus operated in dimensions. The disciples believed him because certain things that he said were being replicated exemplary in his life. And you must understand that your correct knowledge of God, he said, Jeremiah 9:24, that if any man will boast and glory, let him glory in the fact that he knows me. Your boast and your glorying should be in the fact that you have a correct knowledge. When Joseph saw his brothers, when it came, first of all, he had a veil. He had a veil. He covered himself. He covered himself. The brothers were trying to pretend to be who they are not. The veil was on Joseph's face. But when the veil was lifted, they saw Joseph. They couldn't hide their identity anymore. When we see who he is, we now know who we are. Until we see him for whom he is, we cannot see who we are. It is the revelation of God that communicates the revelation of you. The revelation of God is what communicates the revelation of who you are. When you see him as he is, you now know who you are. When you understand that he's a healer, you now know why you cannot be sick. When you understand that he's a provider, you now know why you cannot and should not be stranded. I say this under God. Financial scarcity is not good for a preacher. I'm saying that under God. I'm being honest to you. Financial scarcity, pauperish living, paucity of funds is not good. Having visions and dreams, but limited resources to communicate them is not good at all. Am I talking to somebody? Because without provision, vision is a mockery. Without provision, vision is a mockery. Am I communicating now? Provision is coming your way. 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 And God that brought that elevation in the life of Joseph, God that brought that turnaround, brought that massive turnaround in the life of Joseph, that God is still able to bring a turnaround in your life, take you from the backside. I don't care what has happened. Hey, he had two sons. Joseph had two sons. One was called Manasseh, one was called Ephraim. One was called Ephraim. No matter the Manasseh in your life, focus on your Ephraim. Focus on your Ephraim. Manasseh means God has made me to forget. Ephraim means God has made me fruitful. Meaning until you forget what the enemy has done, you can't see the fruitfulness that God is bringing. Can I repeat that? The attacks of the enemy, you can't see the fruitfulness that God is bringing. Sometimes even when God has brought that fruitfulness, you are still carried away and pained with where you are coming from. And when that happens, God crosses his hand. When they brought the sons and the father looked in the realms of the spirit, Joseph was still in prison with his past. He was still in prison with his past. When the father came, the father crossed his hand, put the right hand on Ephraim, the left on Manasseh. Said, Joseph, you are overwhelmed with where you are coming from. Please focus that you have now become fruitful. Focus on where you are coming from. It has more priority when you focus on where you are coming from than focusing on what the enemies have brought you through. Do you know that the battles of your life brought a dimension of God you never knew existed? The battles of your life brought a dimension of God you never knew was available. There are times when the enemy thought you were down and out, but God picked you up. For when men say there is a cast down, thou shalt say there is a lifting up. When men think it's finished with you, can I say this to you? There are many times, my God, this woman, hold on, this woman was the same woman, if you remember, 2 Kings chapter 4, who the man of God, this woman was a woman who had perception. She didn't hear the voice, she perceived. Sometimes you may not see a vision. God can be speaking to you through perception. You can just sense it. It's not every time you hear it. There are times you sense it. When you sense it, say you sense it. Don't say you are hearing it. Don't stand up and I hear. No, I sense. Say it as it is. I sense in my spirit. When you didn't hear, say you sense. When you hear, say you hear. When you sense, say you sense. The spirit beareth witness with our spirit. Elisha was just passing. And the woman perceived that this is a holy man of God. This is what? Holy. So there are men of God that are not holy. They have been passing there. The woman said, no, there are regular people, but this one is holy. And what was our estimation of being holy? It wasn't because it was pious. It wasn't because there was this air around him. It was because the woman saw that this one was not a preacher that goes into houses looking for help. Our estimation of holiness was his dependence on who called him. Stop begging. Stop borrowing money from members. I left that church, but pastor is still owing me. Will you see hunger? Yes. Will you see scarcity? Yes. I told you my first daughter, I had given my cars to the Lord. I had 2 cars before she came. I had emptied my account. I was just doing that. On one morning, my wife said to me that she doesn't like the way she's feeling. It's like she is about to give birth. I said, what? She said, the water broke. She was so normal. I said, is this how people give birth? You are normal now. What I know about childbirth? Hey! Ha! Ho! I said, I better stop playing. He said, take me to the hospital. I don't know where she came from. My wife wants to give birth. She would drive herself to the hospital. I mean, these are open secret. Members have been there. She would drive herself to the hospital, enter the labor room by herself, deliver by herself. When I come, he said, let's go home. I said, now so they take the ball. I'm telling you, all. I said, is that they give birth? Because I used to hear, hey, oh, hey. So I'd given everything I had. And she said to me that it's like she will give birth that day. While I was taking her to the hospital, all I was saying is, not today. I didn't have a dime. I had everything. I do that a lot. Every December, when I enter the new year, I clear my account. God has to start new with me. I do that a lot. And that year, I'd given for the month of April. This was May. The child was born in June. And I said, Jesus, I don't have anything. As at that period, there was $500,000 in the church account. But I am not the church. I said, Lord, I don't have anything. I am not the church. Why she was there? She was in labor. And she was holding her waist, holding here. And I look at her, I said, what's going on? He said, the baby. She was in labor, I was in labor. She was in labor, I was in labor. My labor was money. And I was like, well, what do I do? I went outside. She finally gave birth. Hi. And they called me. Because I left before. They said, go and get some things and all. Because that was my first. I didn't know you have to come with things, come with that. So they said, go and get some things. I said, okay. It was so bad. Bring this, bring cola, bring this. If they can make pepper soup, make this one, bring spoon. I went to carry shovel. Because of the confusion, I carried shovel. And I said, what is shovel? I went back. I said, Father. I looked up. I said, I don't have money. I don't have money. This is embarrassing. They will still say, buy this. I don't have money. And someone called on the phone. And the person said, what is the matter? He said, please, sir, can you take this number? I said, which number? He said, can you write something down? I said, what am I writing down? What am I, under tension, what am I writing down? He said, just write it down. Answer this. Question this. I said, who is that? Who is questioning and who is answering? He said, just write it. Question this. Answer this. Go to any bank, they'll give you so and so amount of money. I said, I never knew it was called Western Union. I didn't know that. Question, answer. They were calling me. I said, I'm still looking for spoon. They said, spoon? I said, I'm looking for spoon. I'm coming. There was not. I was in labor. My wife had given birth, but I was still having contraction. And money came. More than enough. Pew, I drove. It was called All State Trust Bank. I drove there, showed them that they checked this. Yes, the money has come. You want everything? I say everything. 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 And they gave it to me. And I was going there. Because I have delivered my baby. With audacity. They looked up to him and their faces were lighting. And they were not ashamed. As you look up to God from now, you will not see shame. 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 If your amen is louder, take the blessing. That you are crying to God. This woman, so Elisha prophesied and said, by this time next year, according to the time of life, you shall have a baby. And true to the prophecy of the servant of God, a baby showed up. Showed up. She was excited. One time, according to the story, they went out and the father was with the reapers. The devil always waits for the time of harvest with the reapers. And the boy screamed, my head, slumped, died. And the father said, take him to his mother. Always remember the source. The father said, I wasn't in the rules of the engagement of this manifestation. Take it to the mother who struck a covenant. But this is my problem. The mother taking the boy there. Our brother in the Lord, Gehazi. They met him. Woman, is all well? She said, it's well. She wasn't lying. Ask again, is all well? She said, it's well. Because you don't tell your problem to who doesn't have your solution. How will a pastor's wife be reporting the husband to members of the church? There is nothing about you that your women leader doesn't know. You don't know that such positions are transient. There is nothing about you as a pastor, about your wife, everything about your home that the church is not aware of. I mean, you just uncover things that are sacred. That woman cannot come to church. Your wife is in a position she can't come to church anymore because everybody practically knows what is happening inside the room. He said, no! And met the man of God. Now, this is my point. This is my point. This is my point. And looked at the man of God and said, why did you lie to me? Ministers of God, where was the lie? I said you are going to have a child. The child came. Where was the lie? When your unction puts you in trouble. A generation of people with short memory. God has done so much for you. Because of a little challenge, you now call me false. Where was the lie? The generation we are in, no matter the manifestation, just a challenge, they forget what God has done. Where was the lie? You now call a prophet through whom God brought a baby. You suddenly call him a liar. Where was the lie? Did I not tell you not to lie to me? Lie to you and you have evidence in your hand? When people who your life has impacted and affected open their mouth and say certain things, you are wondering if this is the same woman you dedicated that child. If it is the same man you travel to the village to do family deliverance for. You are saying this? The same people that look at you and said, I will stay in this mandate. I will stay with you. Suddenly you hear statements and you are just one shaking. Meanwhile, the shaking they are going through, the unction to fix it is still on you. Appointed, and you are a father, you need capacity for tolerance. Because there are people that will push you. You can destroy them in 1 minute. But you have to understand, don't let what is using them use you. Don't let the manipulation, if you react to members, the manipulation on them, you must understand that there are things people will not do with their clear eyes. When they are doing it, you know something is using this person. So if you let that thing use you, you become a victim of what he or she is already a victim of. Do you know when I read that portion, I was, if you can carry somebody out of scriptures, if I could extract that woman, expunge her from scriptures, that you had a visible, palpable, tangible manifestation of God in your hand. That boy didn't die at 1. He didn't die at 2. That boy must have been a teenager, grown enough to follow the father to the farm. So it was a miracle that was tested for over a decade. A miracle that was proven over a decade. And yet you call the man a liar. There are some things that those you have affected will say. You'll be asking, did he say it? Is he the one talking? Brethren, where was the lie? I'm looking for the lie. Did you have the baby? Yes. Was it the exact precise time the man of God spoke? Yes. Precision, accuracy, fulfillment. Where was the lie? A man of God ministered to you, spoke the counsel of God over your life, and the evidence are there. The same lifting that has occasioned in your life through his mandate, you now stand on that same pinnacle of that lifting to exercise arrogance against the counsels of a pastor who has lifted you. When you see members, the arrogance of some members of church, sometimes you are asking God, what have I done? And I told members here, I said, none of you that's a member of this church will make me go back and ask God if he really called me. I said, because there are some things. People don't know that pastors can take their last money with them and support. Many of them, their own family saw them as nothing. The only relevance they have was the church of God. Where was the lie? I don't know about you, but there are ministers of God today who are bleeding while leading. For members who are ingrates, unappreciative, they are mentally distorted and troubled. How many of you can relate to what I'm talking about? Here was the lie. And you need to be teaching them this, because some of them are not even aware. One thing that has helped my capacity, God said to me, take people the way they are, not the way you want them to be, and teach them what they should be. If you take people the way you think they should be, you're going to have problems. Take them the way they are, then teach them what you want them to be. Did I not say? What audacity. Child of God, it's good to be very prophetically mature, because I think some of you, your temperament will not allow you pray. Do you know Elijah had to go to the house, stretch himself 7 times? Why go through that length? I think emotional-wise, I think mental-wise, this man was not himself. After he brought the child back, he walked away from that house. He left. Walked away. Because what was the arrogance of the woman? She gave bed and gave me a table. It wasn't for me, because when your child died, it was the same bed the child was dropped. Anything you give to God is what God uses for you. Anything you give to the Lord is what God keeps in store and uses for you. So your giving to God is to secure your future, not for him. Bed you thought you gave to the man of God was the same bed you put your child when he died. So it was for your child, it was not for me. Whatever you give God today, waits for your future. It's the platform for it. Where is the lie? Do you know how painful it can be? You're the same people you've shown love. See, I pray this prayer for, like I said, I'm not if you want to submit to this grace and you are looking for who will lie to you, I'm not part of it. I'm not part of it. I am getting better every day. Okay? But I am myself, but I'm getting better every day. I will pray this prayer now. May God lift you to a point that you become too busy for what will hurt you. May God lift you to a point you become too big and too busy for what will hurt you. Take your seat briefly. Simply put, that may God lift you to a point where you'll be too busy. All this traveling to people's village, traveling to the, you'll be too busy for it. You have people that will be doing, you'll be too busy. You will not invest emotions in rebels. You'll be too busy. And you send people, say, go there, go there. No. At this point, is it me now that go and do family deliverance? How? Before I will travel, we'll get to Imo. That's how I started knowing places. Mbise, Ngbidi, Mbano. I was in Ngbidi for 5 nights. I was in Ngbidi again for a crusade. Pastor Hodges, through one young man, took me to Ngbidi. Ngbidi. In Ngbidi, give me food for where they brought bread to 9 p.m. Not him, the host. And I asked him, I said I was hungry. He said he wasn't led to bring me food. I've seen this. He said he wasn't led to bring me food. That God told him I'm praying. I said I wasn't praying. You are a liar. I was hungry. How can you tell? And you know, there are some people you cannot advise. They spiritualize stupidity. So I said, I'm talking to him. He's laughing. When you are talking to people and they are laughing, it's a display of stupidity. I said, sir, I was hungry. He said, oh, no. It's okay, my dear. He said, it's okay, my dear. The Lord told me that you were praying. That's why I wasn't led. He brought that, it was a crusade. He brought that bread, small bread. He brought it to 9. Not after service, before service. To 9 was before service. And so you should know that we did that crusade 11 p.m. He waited till the town gathered. It was like village meeting. You know, when everybody come with their lantern. Come back from fire, almost 11. I was angry with Pastor Hodges. I said, who is this? Where did you carry me to? Bidi. How many years ago? It's a long time, right? Over 20-something years, right? He's a good guy. He has been around for a long time. He's a good guy. We were there together. I was saying, sorry, sir. He said, even myself, are they hungry? I said, we will hunger together here. You are not going anywhere. We hunger together here. Mbidi. I like Mbidi. I wish I can go back to Mbidi. This time around, I will not be hungry. No, it's not possible. Because there are people there that won't let me go hungry. They ministered. And he did it. The man did something. As I'm prophesying on people who come and stand near me. As this is what the Lord is saying. Oh, he's telling me the same thing too. He's telling me. Who is this man? Very unethical. Say yes. Hey, he's telling me the same thing. He's telling me, you say it in Igbo. The things he was saying in Igbo, I wasn't hearing those ones. Then I say, yes. Apostle, I'm still talking. This thing you are saying, I saw it. I'm still. Say, Father, if you deliver me from Ngbidi today. You got to be careful. Why the lie? Show me. People you see, a minister of God may not be, many young preachers today are not thieves, are not crooks, are not immoral, are not liars, but they are crooked. Let me tell you why I stopped accepting invitation. There's no way I didn't preach. There's nowhere. I so preached in the Assemblies of God that people thought I was an Assemblies of God pastor. Many of you that knew me then thought I was in the Assemblies of God. I was preaching in district, in province, in Otuake and Enugu. I was preaching like that. I preached in assembly. I went to Assemblies of God, Mali, Assembly des Hommes. I was ministering Assemblies of God. They thought I was part of them. I've preached for the Anglican. I've preached for Catholic Charismatic. I've preached in Cherubim and Seraphim. I took off my shoe. I removed shoe. They said they will pour something. I said, pour. They said, we'll do this. I said, do it. Are you going to run from here the devil is operating? Go there. And who told you that all celestial members are evil? There is still remnant that God has kept. Stop condemning people because of some bad pictures that some people are putting there. I'm not endorsing anything. I'm just saying there are places you never thought God is, that God is. Have you seen people, reverend fathers, that are catching the fire in the Catholic Church? Why are you condemning? Somebody said, don't go. You contaminate yourself. I said, this is the problem. Let me ask you a question. If, for example, if you're even a polluted place and it can contaminate me, if this what I carry is not strong enough, the light shined in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. So who told you they are evil, number one? Who told you? I went there. Then there is different one called the cherubim and seraphim. Cherubim and seraphim church. I've preached there. I remember Celeste, I took the mic 1 in the afternoon. 11 p.m. I was still with the mic. Deliverance everywhere. What matters is what happened when you went there. I've preached in Kwaibo. You know Kwaibo? There's a ministry called Kwaibo. I've preached. But why did I stop? When the Lord spoke to me over 15 years ago, He said, you will expand your work. Because I don't want to hurt anybody. I knew where you are inviting me to, I may come there for a personal crusade. I don't want problems. So I withdrew. I knew our ministry was going to be everywhere. I don't want to use another man's work to start my work, because sheep can put shepherds in trouble. I knew that if you invite me and the Lord moves and I come to that city tomorrow, your people are coming. So it is better I go to London and do a crusade and get only 100 people, organic, than I preach for you in a church of 1,000 people and come back to London to start my work and 500 of your people come to I won't cause anybody pain. Many ministers today are crooked. A pastor was telling me I invited a minister to an African country, helped the minister to get a visa. Only as the minister was about coming, called him and said, hey, sir, sorry, I have an invitation. Somebody else also invited me. After I finish preaching for you, I will go there. And I said to the pastor, why didn't you stop him? That's crookedness. That's already a sign. He said the man preached for him. And as the man preached for him, he went to see the man privately and saw one of his strong men in his church with the man. Crooked. Why cause people pain? So that's why I stopped, because there's a country today. I was invited to that country by a bishop. And I ministered. Before that time, people were coming from that country to see me. But I've not gone to the country. And I ministered. The man packed stadium out. The stadium was packed out. I was like a household name till now there. And the Lord started speaking to me about crusade in that country. I battled it for 8 years. I said, I'm not going. Before I went to that church, people were already coming to our ministry from that nation. The nation is represented here. I said, I am not going. Lord, please. This man did a program in his church, used the stadium. If he didn't give me that platform, they wouldn't know me there. They only know me on Facebook then. It was only Facebook then. That's what they know. I won't go there. I won't make a man of God feel weaker than he already feels. I won't go there. I battled. And when the Lord said to me to go there, I avoided his city. I went 3 hours from his city. I said, I'm not going to that city. People say, no, we must do the work of God. Don't look at. I said, you don't understand. There are things you do to a man, his prayer life will be shattered. His study of the word will be shattered. He won't trust anybody again. I won't cause nobody pain. Somebody invited you to preach. Never you have planted a church near where you are invited. Why are you crooked? You hear a pastor paid for a hall, you went to pay twice for the same hall. Why are you crooked? They invited you and a man of God to a program. You ridiculed him. Have you seen people, you get invitations with them to a meeting? You've been going there before. The first time they went there, you are not invited again. I've had stories. Pastors have spoken to me over some of these young people coming up. A pastor, non-pastor spoke to me and said that he went there with someone. And he wasn't invited again. The guy ran him down. Crooked. A minister must not be crooked. I refuse. I told him, I said, I'm not going there. I'm not going to that city. I said, no, I don't forget yesterday. Don't because of your today forget yesterday. Because you'll be shocked. Sir, it's easy to return back to where you're coming from. It's very easy. Just one attack. You see yourself selling your things. No. Do you know why I can't discipline some of you? I remember yesterday. If I forget yesterday, I'll just think, because I know there's somebody waiting to laugh at you. I'm not thinking of me, because I think of what you do to me. I can do you something, no? I don't see Reverend Kingsley as my pastor. I see him like a biological son. He has been with me over 30-something years. There was something that happened one time. I gave an instruction that if you're not in the meeting, you'll be suspended, come to the headquarters. He missed that meeting for a good reason. I told him, I'm not interested. You are suspended, come to the headquarters. And he came to headquarters, sat down, served it. I said, go back. That is my own. I can do you something, no. But you will not succeed in pushing me to do you. I want to prove to you the real meaning of love. The real meaning of love. Yeah. Because that's one thing that is not in the church. Many pastors are lonely. They can't really find somebody who loves them unconditionally. So let's redefine it. Let's redefine it. Don't be crooked. Don't go to invitations and you are collecting people's phone numbers. Stop it. Stop it. Go to your pastor. I've preached for you. I was for you today. Did anybody come to you and say, this man, I've preached for people. I've preached for you. I've preached for you. Did anyone come to you and say, one message? Are you okay? How? When I come, it is you. I project you. I project you. It's not me. That's what it should be. I told you a story. I'm taking your time, right? Let me round up. I'm coming to my point. I told you a story. I used to preach for him. Man, still preach for him. And whenever other preachers go there, they will call me. They say, everywhere, soldiers, police, security in the hotel. So they are there. Protocols everywhere. I say, wonderful. By their door, protocol. By the lobby, protocol. By this security. I say, wow. See honor. When I go, no single protocol in the whole hotel. No police, no security. I say, what did I do? Why didn't know yet? So one day I was, I said, sir, can I say something that you will not be angry with me? He said, go ahead. I said, sir, what did I do? If I offended you, I'm sorry. No police, no protocol. Others, they are following them. He said, no, you are a Christian. He said, you are a Christian. Those ones, members are sneaking. It is they are mafias. Those people, they are mafias. They will tell members to sit them in the hotel, sit them in the air. So we block gates, we block door, we block. Let's see where people will pass. He said, but when you are coming, I told all of them, retreat. Suleman, even if I bring somebody to him, he will say, sorry, sir, can I pray for the person in your office? He will never. He said, I will have to be begging him. He said, I know you will not like this, but this person has been on my neck. I said, sorry, sir, can he come here? I'm standing with you. You are standing. Where will you? Whatever happens there, you are a witness. So when he said that, I said, This is me. And do you know for 3 years I was carrying that in my heart that this man doesn't love me? Don't let assumption kill you. Don't let assumption. I'm not going to lie to you. Then I'll tell Reverend K, I say, wait till they happen. Wait till he was with me in the same hotel. Everywhere is empty. I say, I'll call them and say, come, when you came. He said, yesterday now. They were with me all through. They followed me everywhere from the door. I didn't know they were following them. Not honor. How would you visit a church for a program and you left? The key helpers left. The major financiers left. Nobody's following me today. The people that love the man left. Have you not seen people that come to your work? It takes you 6 months to gather things. Why? What heart do you have? Why will I preach in your city when I know I'm coming to plant a church there? Sorry, sir, with all due respect, I'm not coming there. Not because I don't believe in your work, but I don't want conflict of interest. Sheep can put shepherds in trouble. Sir, don't be crooked. Anyone who wants to bless you should pass through your host. Have your honor. A man called you. He said, this is an apostle of God, a prophet of God. The hand of God is upon him. He spoke highly of you, elevated you, honored you. Honored you. And the people's hearts were open. Because where virtue flows, where honor flows. Yeah, virtue flows where honor flows. When there is honor, virtue flows. The people honored you, so virtue flowed. And by your attitude, you demean yourself. You left pulpit into one-on-one. Collect phone numbers. Collect contacts. And start telling them where to see you. You are coming to a city close to that city. Say, come over and see me. Start giving them prophecies that are anti-prophecies to the previous prophecies that the prophet over them has given. Crooked everywhere. Crooked. Top ministers abroad, America, Europe, they are talking to me. He said, I invited this man to minister in my church. I didn't know he had a plan to come to that city. He's already there. And my people are already going there. I'm trying to talk to them, they're not listening. Even him, he's not talking to me anymore. Am I talking here? You've got to understand the part of humanity. I believe in spirituality, but don't forget humanity. Humanity. If you know some ministers who you hosted, or some ministers that hosted you, their wives didn't want you to come. Their wives didn't like you. But yet, they hosted you. Now you have shattered the man's heart. He's not just dealing with that, he's dealing with crisis in his home. Because the wife is saying, but I warned you. Told you not to bring this man. So he's dealing with you, dealing with the work, dealing with home. And you are there doing ministry. You don't care. You are just, as far as you are concerned, you are expanding. Your work is expanding. You are taking glory over another man's pain. Taking glory over another man's labor. Don't use the bricks of your brother to build your house. Mold your own blocks. Don't use the bricks of your brother to build your house. Mold your own block. If that's how they open ministry, many of us would have had churches in every nation of the world. But we choose to go. 10 good. I stopped all invitations. Sir, when you stop invitation, you know what follows it. Let's be honest. You know, envelope is gone. Honorarium is gone. So I denied myself of that. I was doing crusades. I was just going, running expenses, looking up to God for supplies, doing crusades. I will go to cities. A man invited me to a particular nation. He had a church of 2,000 people. And the Lord has spoken to me to be in that nation 3 months after that. I turned down his invitation. I went to that nation to do my own crusade. It was 63 people that came. How many? Satan was like, see how stupid you are. You would have just ministered for him. Come, you don't use common sense for spiritual matters. Don't use logic. 63 people. Dr. Fidelis was with me in that program. I said, there's no need to use microphone. Let me just come down and call all of them. I said, call all of them. Leave the sound. Just call them. I say, amen. Can you all hear me? Say, yes. You see, Jesus died. Why will I waste sound? Waste all those things. So I used my voice. I preached. And I said to him, I said, watch this city. Watch this nation. Watch this nation. I have been to that nation 3 times after then. They closed stadium. You have been there with me, Dr. Amadi. They closed stadium. They beg people, don't enter. No space. No space. 40,000. 45,000. It's better to be slow and sure than to be fast and fall. First invitation I had to Cameroon was from a young man who was doing very well. He was in a place called Yaoundé. He sent me pictures of his church. About 1,500, about 2,000 people. And I was praying, and the Lord said, you are going to visit Cameroon for crusades over and over. I said, because I told him I wasn't coming. He said, I said, because the Lord said, I will come there for crusades. And he said to me, it's better. No, it's the work of, so long as the work of God, I don't care. Let's just be a platform. I said, you are saying this now. But when reality dawns on you, it will change. I am not coming. I refuse to come. Our first meeting in Cameroon was held somewhere in some small hotel somewhere. The person that was to bring food vanished. Our first Cameroon program. The person that bring food vanished. We had to look for what to do. Someone came as a helper and gave us something to eat. Bread. What kind of bread was it? Very strong. Strong, dry bread. I don't know when they look at me, they just remember bread. I don't know these people. What's my relationship with bread? And I said, wow, we took some books. We took some books there that was sold. My kids, they don't say anything to anybody there. The books were sold, so I told them, at least they sold some books. Can we get money to buy food from the books? Books is not offering. It's not tight. It's book. I wrote it. It's my sweat. Can we get money? We went to the person that one of us, we said, where's the money? He said they stole it. When you see the glory, look for the story. He said they stole it. I said, I don't understand. They stole some. He said, no, everything. How? You were alone with the money. You didn't go anywhere. He said, he doesn't know. Okay. Tell the person who stole it. Because obviously this thing is not stolen. Tell the person who stole it to bring some. He can keep the rest, just some, because it wasn't stolen now. I don't know. I don't know. I said, Reverend K, it is well. This hunger is going to be here for a long time. The money we brought that we came with, we have put it for expenses, for the program, pay for this, pay for what, paid for everything. That was in Cameroon. But today we'll go to the same Cameroon. And God is helping. Should I be mentioning nations by names? Nations by names? But nobody in that nation can say, I came through his ministry? No, nobody. Nobody. That was what I wanted to maintain. But I had to go through pain to maintain that. Stop climbing on people's back and turning against them. I wish I said something here. Don't be crooked. Don't be crooked. Don't be crooked. Don't be crooked. I'm saying this to those of you who are itinerant preachers who still have chance to go around nations ministering or go around platforms ministering, and you think that shortchanging people is how to empower yourself financially. That's a poor thinking. Honesty is a currency. Honesty is stronger than dollar, stronger than pounds, stronger than euros, stronger than money rands. It's stronger. It's stronger. This woman, after he brought the child back to life, the man of God left her alone. And this was God in action. But the man of God left in anger, but the prophetic word remained. The woman was wise enough, despite her attitude, to maintain connection. The man of God gave a prophecy and said, there's going to be a famine for 7 years. Because there's about to be war. There'll be hunger. Leave. So the woman relocated, and famine was coming, and stayed somewhere 7 years. 7 years. Sometimes the silence, the non-event, the minimal manifestation, the no major testimony, the season of silence, as it were, constant struggle, is not God abandoning you. Is God hiding you? Lord, what is happening? God says, shut up. I'm hiding you. Your life matters to me. Your life matters to me than you building cathedral. Wait. Famine doesn't last forever. Every limitation has an expiring date. Wait. Then when this woman left, and left her own city, left her location, she must have thought God has abandoned her, but God was hiding her. For John the Baptist stayed in the wilderness until the day of his showing forth. Your life matters more to God. You may not see results now. You may not be seeing event, because God, he has not abandoned you. He is only hiding you. Because the hunters are many. Those hunting for your souls are many. Those hunting for your life are many. Those hunting for your life are many. Hunting to see you cry are many. So don't feel pain that nothing is happening now, but rather thank him that you have not fallen to the expectation of your enemy. When you say, Lord, what happened? Things used to be better before. What now? Where did I miss it? You didn't miss it, sir. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. God is hiding you. He took you from that location to hide you. If you have been there, you may have been killed. If you have been there, you may have been kidnapped and wasted. If you have been there, you may have been wasted and roasted. If you have been there, you may not have survived the gang up. But oh my God. Oh my God. If only you understand. If only God opens your eye to see how your life would have been cut short if he announced you the time you wanted the announcement. How your life would have, how your family, how your children would have been targets if when you wanted the announcement is when he announced you. God saw the season. He said, no, my son, keep praying, but not now. My daughter, keep praying, but not now, not now. I want you alive. I value you than this testimony you are looking for. I value you than this ministerial breakthrough. I value you. If I bless you now, you won't survive it. There are hawks and there are bulwarks that are waiting. There are tigers and lions that are waiting to devour you. They are just waiting. There are vultures waiting to. I will bless you. Just let me clear the atmosphere. I will bless you. Let me take these people away. I will bless you. Let me give them another assignment. I will bless you. Let me clear them out of the way. Let me take them out. Let me make sure that that they have a battle they are dealing with. So that when you are lifted, they will be too busy with their battles to remember you. Let me get them busy. And you are there, Lord, I've been praying. God said, I know I'm not unrighteous to forget your labor of love. I know my son, I know my daughter, but please, can you allow me preserve you? Can you allow me secure you? Your life is more important. These people are looking for who to destroy. These people are out looking for who to make a mockery of, and looking for people who to behead. He says, so just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just keep loving me. Don't worry. I didn't forget you. But the atmosphere is not clear. I didn't forget you, but this is not a good season. The kind of blessing I want to bring on you would definitely attract terrible envy. But all of these envious and wicked men, allow me fix them. Let me get them busy with other things, so that when you have exploded, you are emerged, none of them will have time to come after you. Say, woman, leave your land, leave your house, go. For 7 years. Say, because something's about to happen and life should be wasted. That's why God is hiding you now. People are mocking, people are leaving. What's happening to you? What is it? What is that? God said, let them go. Your preservation matters. Let them say, your preservation matters. I am keeping you and preserving you, so that when he has tried you, your comfort as gold. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Stop being interested in the noise, the announcements. Oh, this young man, I started before him, now look at his ministry. No. This is not industry, it's ministry. No. Focus on that which the Lord is doing in your life. Sometimes your prayer for ministerial explosion, the result of that prayer is preservation. The result of a prayer for ministerial explosion is preservation. And we won't go to a point where we are mocking people and say, look at you, small church, shop. How many members do you have? Please be careful. The race is not to the swift. The battle is not to the strong. Ministry is not your family business, it's your father's business. Be careful. You know, people say, I'm here to make sure that the church should have spots or wrinkle. That's not what the Lord said. Ephesians 5:27 says God wants to present to himself. Jesus wants to present to himself a church without spot. It is him that's doing it, not you. He is the one that wants to purify the church, not you. You are not the purifier. So you are not the one God wants to use to purify the church. It is that he might present them to himself. It's important. Before the famine, God spoke. Write this down. The solution is older than the problem. If you must get restoration of all, you must know that the solution is older than the problem. Direction is the trigger for preservation. Divine preservation is platformed by direction. Divine direction. So what was the woman doing in those 7 years of just staying out of her city, where she had land, she had houses, staying out of all of the forms of celebration, the pomp and the pageantry? What was she doing? Just quietly serving the Lord. In all these periods you are waiting for your desire, just quietly be serving him. Stay faithful. What your faith cannot do, your faithfulness will do it. What your faith cannot do, your faithfulness will do it. Every farmer in scarcity has a time frame. 7 years. Many of you have completed your time frame. You have completed your years of wilderness. This conference ushers you into the season of your announcement. This conference ushers you into the season of your explosion. This conference ushers you to your season of manifestation. This conference ushers you to your season of rest. If your amen is louder, take the blessing. Take your seat. Woo. Focus. Remove. If you don't know this book, pursue knowing it. Build your work on this book. Don't build it on gimmicks, games. 21 days of praise, and you jam 50 artists, which I have nothing against. As soon as you finish 21 days of praise, you enter 14 days, you bring comedians to the pulpit, they make mockery. You finish, you always gather people by event. And when you gather people with event, they will leave when they see a better event. This is it. Where the carcass is. Know this. Know it. I told you, any place where the fish is more than the bread, you can't raise men. Yes. 5 loaves and 2 fishes fed 5,000 men. So if you want men in that class, speaks of dependable people. So if you want dependable people, let the bread be more than the fish. Minimal fish, maximal bread. Fish is the miracle. Fish is the manifestation. Bread is the word. Have more bread than fish to raise men. Have more bread than fish to raise men. Guess what he said? He said 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes, 5,000 men, besides women and because those are for fish. They celebrate fish, but our focus is men. And men in that context speaks of people who have grown to the place of understanding. In malice, be children. In understanding, be men. People have grown to the focus on the word. Focus on the word. I used to prophesy. It was terrible. I used to prophesy for hours. When I mean hours, I mean hours. I was very brutal. I'm not joking, no. I'm not joking. I was brutal. I had no control. Not now. I will see something, I'm going around the pulpit speaking in tongues, thinking of how to say it. I don't think I'll just... Very brutal. You have no idea. Very, terribly brutal. No. When Elijah was in the wilderness, my pastor said, I can tell you, terribly brutal. I'm prophesying, my own pastors are shouting, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I used to. I wasn't preaching. I'll just quote one scripture, quote 2, enter prophecy. 4 hours, 5 hours. I used to close vigil to 8 a.m. Take mic by 12. Prophecy till 8 a.m. Nobody's sitting down. I'll take one prayer. Prophecy. I was doing all that. Strange. Okay, let me give you 1 or 2 cases. Should I give you? I prophesied on a woman and her children who the Lord picked out. And the Lord said, where is your husband? He said, my husband is dead. I said, your husband is not dead. He said, sir, my husband is dead. We attended the burial. I said, did you see the corpse? That was not your husband inside. He said, no, while living, my husband and I agreed that if anybody goes first, we won't see Isoja's corpse. He says, right. I said, this is what happened. That both of you used to live in Chicago with the family. Your husband was a drug dealer. He traveled to Mexico to peddle drugs with his friends. And he got a news. He was pressed. He went to the restroom. And they told him in the restroom that they have killed all his friends. They should run. He was thinking of running back to Chicago. They told him they have killed his family members. He should change his line. His wife and children. They sent pictures. But he said, no, he can't see the corpse. He didn't look at the pictures that were sent to him. And the people that they killed in Mexico, they flew them to Nigeria. Their members, the family members demanded them. One of the people in the corpse was your husband's friend, not your husband. The daughters started laughing. They said, we went to our father. I said, that was not him. I said, let me shock you. As I speak to you right now, your husband is about to get, this is 5 years ago, your husband is about to get married this week in Senegal. As I speak to you, he's in Senegal. We worship the Lord brought his phone number, and I called the phone number. And the man, hold on. The man picked up, just hello. And the woman spoke to the man. The man spoke to the man. The woman collapsed here, the man collapsed there. 2 days later, when the man walked into the meeting, it's like he vomited carbon copy of the children. As the man saw the wife, the man fainted, the woman fainted, the children fainted. Have you seen prophecy? Then you now come out and say you arrange what? Are you okay? I was brutal, but can I surprise you? I will finish that meeting. People will go outside, they'll start fighting. Bastard, get out! But here, with this kind of thing that we just saw, you know why? Then I wasn't studying, I was just praying. I was praying for what you open your heart to is what it gives you. My mind was prophecy. 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 It was brutal. When I walk into a meeting, people would say, don't go. If he look you, he go see something. Don't go. Up to your boxers. I remember a young man was prophesying. I was just laughing. Saying, story. I said, what is that? Is it akiko? I turned to someone. I said, what is akiko? Is it akiko means story? I said, me, akiko, come out. I prophesied to him to a point when I got to a point, he jumped and covered my mouth. I said, was the apostle now everything you they see? So when I see young people now who are, I still prophesy. I still prophesy a lot. But this is my priority. Remember then, we just walk into meetings. Walking straight, hold the microphone, say amen. Praise the Lord. We are the blind. We are the cripple. Take me there. No message. Hey, it's like I was the one using myself, not God using me. I was just crazy about power. Take me there. Cripples are jumping. This, as they are walking, things are happening. From there, the back is when I enter the car. I don't go back to the altar. Is there still any blind? Is there still any cripple? We focus on that one. When they are all healed, I'll just pass back. What a useless, unethical, scattered. There was a time I focused on power dimension. Power dimension. I remember, remember the meeting in Jetu? People were under the anointing, and a young man said no. A group of young men said no. They came out, mechanics. They said no. How can people be falling down? Nonsense. They're not chop. They were sent outside, so I told them to tell all of them to enter the church. Dirty boys, thick boys. Jet 2 mechanic site here. Thick boys entered, about 11 of them. We are doing now. As a Holy Ghost take over. 11 of them on the floor. They stood up, said they didn't stand well. That was why. Holy Ghost take over. 11 of them on the floor. They said no. I said to them to hold the pillars. They should hold wall. I said, I don't like the way you are falling. Hold the wall. They had wall. From wall. Boom. I said, hold pillar. Hold something now. I don't like what you guys. Hold something. They had boom. As soon as they managed to stand. See raise. Now, let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question? Is that salvation? No, I'm asking you. Is that was just display? Nobody saved. Nobody transformed. But guess what? People liked it. One day I was abroad, I sat down. I was abroad. Will I call it abroad? Is South Africa abroad? I don't know. I don't don't know if to call it. I was in South Africa. I was in Pretoria. I had a vision. If you are from the north, you will know these thick people, but they move on rollers. You know rollers? They are paralyzed. They move on rollers. They can't walk with their legs. Yeah. So I saw a lot of people on rollers. I felt it was a meeting that was coming up. The Lord was telling me to fast, prepare, and all that. He said, no, these are the people you have been ministering to. Big, but they can't walk. He said, because the word to help them stand on their own is not there. I will prophesy on people, massive move of God, and they are Ogboni members, they are occultic members, they still stay there. So they were seeing me as a prophet, a higher native doctor. Higher. I'm being honest to you. Yes, they will come to me. They will tell me clearly with their beads. Yes, I said, it's okay. I wasn't conscious, just power. When the Lord showed me that, he said, as you get back, start preaching, teaching the word. Can I surprise you? When I got back, Patrick used to be around. Patrick used to be in my services. When I got back that Sunday, I was preaching. People were looking at them. You don't they see? He said, no, you never start to see now. Wait. What did they happen today? See, they preach. Close. They don't come to church with Bible. No. No Bible. Guess what? I did it one Sunday. That Sunday, I did not prophesy on one person. It was a temptation because I kept saying things. I kept saying. Second Sunday, I did not. Guess what? They started leaving. What was all of them saying?
The Holy Ghost has left him.
I didn't prophesy. I would just preach. I'll walk away, enter the car. I'll preach the word. Guess what? I began to get serious-minded people. Because there it was market women. The counseling I used to do there is that he shade, my shade. He can't come my shade. He go my shade. That was the counseling was counseling of shade. To show you the class of people that were coming. So I now started seeing lecturers. And I started seeing heads of department. And I started seeing people I could communicate with. People who are sensible, reasonable. They told me that we used to attend your programs, but we didn't want you to pastor us because you were not talking to us. After all of this, we wanted something we can write. So after we come to your meetings, we see all these things, we will now go to a pastor who doesn't have that anointing, but he can tell us what we can write. Nobody's following me. So by the fourth Sunday, I now preached and went back. I prophesied. I'll preach. Before I preach, I prophesy first. Yes, that was the pattern. Then in the middle of the message, I go back to prophecy. Towards the end again, I go back to prophecy. The thing was it was very annoying. A man of God, a top man of God called me. Can't you preach Bible? What is this? Come here. He said, preach. Yes. Those of them that were on, everybody around started aligning. May God bless late Bola Francis Akinjon. Those were one of the men that was saying, this young man has the word, but gift is deceiving him. I got angry. I'm telling you how we became friends. So it was fight first. This young man, he said, the little time he preached, if he give himself to the word, he said, little time he pick a scripture, see revelations. He was in the meeting, I was preaching, revelation, I just stopped. I said, there are women here. I saw him did that. I felt it was the anointing that hit him. At the end, he came out. He frowned throughout. He came and said, what was that nonsense you were doing? Look at revelations of the word. Gifts can wait. He said, face the word. When I encountered the Lord and he started hearing me preach the word, he called me. Say, I'm proud. I'm happy. 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 I'm 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 happy I've seen prophets rise up. Just prophet. Their ministry goes through seasons. When there's a shaking, everybody leave. They'll start afresh again. Shaking every. There are people, even if you come after them, throw all your arrows, their church won't shake. You know why? Built on the word. One day I sat down. I said to myself, all this shaking I have seen, if it was those people, would have turned here to a candle factory. But I focus on the word. On the word. Tell somebody, go for the word. I'm being very practical now, and I hope you are getting something from my story. It's exciting, oh. It's exciting when you are doing gift, but it's not deep. You don't get people of depth when you build your work on gift. Build it on the word. Build it on the word. Number two, if you must see restoration of all, understand that God is a master planner. I'm going to pray. God is a strategist. God knows the right time to bless you. He's a master planner. He's a master planner. He's a master planner. He's a master planner. Listen, Gehazi was talking to the king. The same Gehazi that Elisha cursed was telling the king how great Elisha was. The same Gehazi that Elisha cursed was telling the king how great Elisha was. The same Gehazi who served the man because of one offense, he cursed him and his generation, was telling the king how great Elisha was. In this generation, what they would tell the king is how they labored and left with leprosy. Do you know once a man is leprous, he's an outcast? So how come Gehazi could enter the palace? It's because the leprosy had left. There is a way you love a man even when he fights you. There's a way you are loyal to a man. You love a covering. Even when you are rejected, things will be working. You know why? God sees your heart. The man that was cursed with leprosy was now talking to the king. You know why? He was wise enough never to open his mouth. He slept in the same room with Elisha. Don't forget, they woke up in 2 Kings chapter 6, woke up one time and saw chariots and horses. Yet he opened his mouth and spoke well. You know why? He knew that every privilege he enjoyed was because of his connection to that man. When the king invited him to the palace, the king didn't invite him in his personal capacity. He invited him to come and talk to him about Elisha. He knew that the platform he enjoyed was still Elisha. This man's oil is still working. I can't open my mouth. Never, he promoted him. Never open your mouth to dishonor the oil that announces you. So you understand why Elisha had longevity despite the curse. Because he was still opening his mouth. Sir, there were a lot of negative things he would have said. Negative, sir. Negative, sir. But he kept saying, no. My boss brought a woman back to life. While he was talking, the woman walked in. They said, sir, this is the woman. How can you leave a man and you are still pointing people to the man? How can you leave a man? You are still pointing people. Can you begin to focus on the good of people? Focus on the good of people. Don't amplify their errors. Do you know why I tell people to be careful of talking about us? I'm saying this to you. When parents are old, they start behaving like children. Are you aware? When parents are old, they start behaving like children, giving room for children to disrespect them. But children should be wise enough to know that these people are transitioning. That's why you see your mother will call you, Don't you call somebody? You won't read, you won't call me, you won't come and say, like a child, say, Mommy, what do you need me for? Am I talking to somebody? Mommy, what do you want? Be calling me. Like a child looking for attention. Yeah. So yeah, man, God, an elderly man will say something that to you does not really align. But you understand, is the childish. But if you are not wise enough, boom, you respond. When you attack men who have gone far in ministry, you are saying you will not go far. When you attack men who have been custodians of the truths for years, you are saying that you won't get to where they got to. I was so proud. A father of faith sent a message. I call him an elder brother. He's in the capacity of an elder brother. And he said, I'm proud of you. I said, hey, what did I don't do again? So I called him. I said, sir, what did I do? He said, I was with fathers. When you say fathers of faith, 4 of them in Nigeria, fathers. He said, they were just gisting and your name came up. He said, they just smiled. He said, that one, we don't know who raised him, but he honors fathers. And they said one word. They say, we are exiting. People like that give us hope that our legacy will not be rubbished. Because we see these younger ones, and tomorrow anything happen to us, we are still alive, they are insulting us. If we go tomorrow, they will rubbish us. But with somebody like that, we know even when we are gone. Because the Archbishop is gone for a year, he's still talking about the Archbishop. So we still have legacy. Tears came out of my eyes. I said, Pastor, I'm just doing these things because nothing. He said, I know. That's why I said, he said, I'm just leaving that meeting now. He said, I'm just leaving. So I'm just leaving that meeting now. They said a few other things that were not too complimentary. You know, I'm very transparent, but I'm picking the one that matters to you. Said a few other things, which I have stopped. They were angry that I was fighting too much. See, the only problem is that he's fighting government. He should rest. Leave that side. Focus on preserving our legacy. I have stopped. I have repented. I've left activists to be doing all those things. But what I'm saying is this. Every one of you who was raised by a man, mentored by someone, and along the line, the Lord began to impress you to submit to somebody else. Don't shut that door. Don't shut that door. Because if not that man, you won't grow to the point of dimensions with God to see this man. Don't shut that door. Because if you shut that door, you are creating enemies for this man you are submitting to. Don't shut that door. Still honor that man. His birthdays, still go there. I asked you one time. I asked you all the time. I said, have you heard from? He had somebody. I said, have you heard? I asked you too. I said, have you heard from that guy? I said, send something to him. Honor him. Honor anybody who has been an impact in your life. Why do you think I went back to see Pastor Ayo? Papa Ayo, why do you think I went there? You think I have 2 fathers? He was there at a point in my life when there was nobody. I just sat down and said, never. Went back. And I lay flat. I said, I'm not here to explain. Whatever I did. I'm not here to explain. Whatever I did. I've been absent. I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm here, sir. You will enjoy. I said, sir, that period there, I no get. Sir, now, God don't help me. You will enjoy me, sir. He said, but why? I said, no. At this your age. I said, at this age. This man gave me pulpit to preach. I was prophesying on the pulpit. People of his contemporaries were attacking him. What are you doing? He said, I believe. He said, the prophecy is given. When he finished prophesying, I called the people to my office to interview them. They don't know him. They don't know anybody. He said, I've investigated it. It is real. You people should leave me alone. Somebody stopped talking to. He made enemies because of me. I said, no. I will stand with this man. Stop closing doors anyhow. Stop closing doors anyhow. Be upstanding. Let me pray for you. Stop closing doors anyhow. Never get to a point in your life where you see these fathers, if they want to drown you, fear fathers, if they want to drown you, all this your rascality. Do you know what I did? How I came against certain powers in this country? I challenged certain things and I never slept in prison one day. Fathers were making calls. They told me. They're making calls. Say, no, leave him. Hey, but see what he's saying, he's dead in the government. Leave him. He's our own. We'll call him. Just imagine if I dishonored them. They were calling presidency. We heard that you no problem, he's going to come. Attend to him properly. So I can't be going there arrogant. Say, oh, I went there, nothing happened. People, there your back, oh. I get back, you know. I no go walk, hello. I was doing all of those things. Defend fathers. It doesn't have to be Johnson Suleman. Somebody attacks an Oyedik, but defend him. They attack Papa Deboye, defend him. They attack great men, fathers, Papa Kumuyi. Defend them. It doesn't have to be me. Defend them. Warn them. This generation is arrogant. Calls were being made. No, it's going to come. It's going to come. When they told me when I entered, the time I entered, when they told me the time I came out, that's when I knew that, they told me what happened while I was there. Warned me of something I said while I was there. What shocked me was when they told me my statement that I wrote. It was snapped, sent to them. When they told me where I argued, refusing to write something they say I should write. So you were there 45 minutes, you were arguing, you won't write. You would have just written. I said, no, sir, the thing they say I should write is implicative. So I didn't want to write it. Say you will never do it again. Do I know if I will do it again? Hallelujah. Honor fathers. So this man, they can close you up. If you think I'm joking, ask the young prophet what happened to the old prophet. The old prophet rounded him up just one piece of meal. Just honor them. Make it a response, not a vow. If you see any, it doesn't have to be me. If you're an SOP, prove to other fathers that I raised you well. When you see them, you put a seed. Say, who are you? My name is so. I'm Apostle Suleman's son. He taught us that when we see fathers, we should honor them. So I honor you, sir. Prove to them that yes, this man raised well. And that is what will happen to you. You will see sons gravitating towards you. Are you following what I'm talking about? While Gehazi was speaking to the king, the woman walked in. The right time to ask for a land and for a house. The right time when she was needed, she showed up. You will not appear when you are not needed. You will not appear when you are not needed. You will not appear when you are not needed. You will not appear when you are not needed. She showed up. Receive the spirit of on time. A man is looking for who to bless with a land. That is when you will show up. God just spoke to a man and said, build 5 churches. That is when you will show up. The Lord just spoke to somebody and said, bless my servant. That's when you will show up. The Lord said to a man, any preacher you see that wants to do a crusade, sponsor it. That's when you will show up. Right time. Right time. Do you know what it means when you need help? Somebody say, hey, if you had come yesterday. Hey! If you had come. That shall not be your portion at all. 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 We're going to pray right now 2 prayers. Because the Lord said to me that before you leave, I should pray a prayer of preservation on you. That's what he told me. But the prayer I want us to engage in warfare, the spirit of on time. In the name of Jesus, I receive the spirit of on time. Strategically on time. When someone is being considered for help, I will walk in at the right time. And guess what? The king did not just say your land is released. He appointed an officer. He said, this woman has become your responsibility. Make sure God is bringing men and women that will take you as their projects. He said, this woman has become your responsibility. Make sure she recovers all. Appoint a certain officer. Restore all. What did she ask of? Land and house. But let me shock you. Look what he said. Restore all that was ours. And all the fruit of the field since the day she left the land. Hey! Somebody say, my harvest is waiting for me. 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 All the fruits of the field for 7 years. Sir, how do you calculate it? How do you equate it? How do you equate it? This God, this God, this God, this God. What God is doing for you is properly, strategically positioning you at the right place, the right time, to meet the right person, get the right favor. Say, my Father, my Father.
My Father, my Father.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
As I begin to pray,
I
receive the spirit of on time.
I receive the spirit of on time.
Open your mouth and fire prayers.
Thank you so much for listening to the end. I pray that whatever that you have listened today, you are not going just to keep it, but you're going to do what God has told you through this message. And please kindly, if you're new here or you are not, you have not subscribed, kindly just click on the red button below the video and subscribe to this my channel. And also you can share this video with someone else. Thank you so much and see you in my next video. Bye.